Sarah. I work at Monterey County Free Libraries as the Adult Literacy and Volunteer Services Manager. Today on Self Care Sunday, we're going to talk about visible mending. Early in the year, I promised I wasn't going to buy much. Unfortunately, I have bought a few things, but I've kept it down. And one way to extend the life of one's clothing is to mend it, or not just clothing, it can be bedding or anything. Um, and visible mending is great because it extends the usefulness of your item and it also provides a unique look. Um, there's two things you might use it for. One is covering up. If you have a stain on an item, you can cover it with visible mending. Or if you have a gap, like a hole in something, you're filling that gap with visible mending. I really like to work with denim because I think it's very forgiving. And so I have some denim with me today. Uh, for visible mending products, you might want to have some embroidery thread, uh, and you will probably want to have some pins or maybe a quilting hoop if you have a larger area or a flat thing you're working on. It's nice to keep the two things that you're sewing together tightly together before it gets permanently tightly together. I like a little bit of the thicker needles, or maybe even a hooked one, especially if you're working with the embroidery thread. It helps to have those, but regular needles are fine. I also have a pair of inexpensive fabric scissors. Don't let your children use these for their school projects because they get dull quickly. But fabric scissors are nice because they make a nice clean cut when you're putting fabric together. So here I have a patch that is a top patch. So I've taken a piece and then I sewed it down and then I went through with the embroidery thread to patch it down to the jeans there. And jeans are frequently what unravels for me, and I have a lot of jeans, and jeans are forgiving, so I have a lot of experience, or more experience. I'm not an expert at doing visible mending from denim to denim. So this is a top patch, but you can also patch from within. And I have these jeans, which are a pair of boyfriend jeans from decades ago, where I sewed the patch from the inside. So in that case, I turned it inside out and then I used my embroidery thread from in there. So when you're working, especially with denim, around the area that needs to be covered is often weak already because it's going to keep breaking. So when you're patching, you want to move out from there and then maybe sew inwards because you need something for that new fabric to hold on to because the area around the hole is going to keep fading away. So, so that is a way to extend the life of the clothes and give them a unique look. Sometimes the imperfection is attractive. I loved the jeans with the top hole very much, and even got some compliments from strangers on them. So you may find some books on this in the area, the Dewey area, 646.6, as well as on the internet. There's a lot of good tutorials on there, and I'm going to set one up and show you how to do it. So here I've set up just to show a patch on some denim. I've anchored it down with my pins and I have just a short, you don't want a really long piece of thread. I know it seems like less trouble to take a really long piece and then work from there, but you don't want to do that because you want very small stitches in order for it to stay together, because anything that's long, like any long edges or any long loops of thread, can catch and then rip, and then you're out of business with your mending. So um, luckily these are loose pieces. It is a little bit harder when you're working on the inside of a knee of your jeans, but I recommend practicing with some loose pieces first. And so you can, I have just a one-sided, so I have a short side and a long side, and I'm just going to go in and out here and keep the stitches short and keep them tidy. So this is not exactly like the Japanese kind, which is called sachiko, but it is what I can do right now. And so the some of the one of the methods is to just go in and out with the needle and then pull it through once. Uh, and I will get there one day, but my stitches aren't so even when I do it that way, so I tend not to do it that way. But that's how your needle might look if you were going to just pull it through with one, um, just pleating it up and pulling it through with one. So I'll do a few of those and then I'll show you. It has a neat look, especially the embroidery thread has a kind of pearlescence to it, and that can look really neat once you've finished with your mending. So I had mentioned sachiko mending, and that is a traditional Japanese kind of stitch, and it has its own thread, which is one strand rather than this embroidery thread that's several strands. And traditionally, sachiko would have been done with white thread on indigo colored fabric. And that was the way that I was taught about doing visible mending. But this is not the traditional Japanese way of visible mending, but it is inspired by it. So here I finished with that chunk of thread, 3 lines of kind of a pearly green on top of the denim. And that was just a little practice to show you how to do that and to practice myself. I haven't been keeping it up as much as I like to. So I hope that you can get a needle and some piece of garment that needs some repair and give it a try and keep your garment out of the landfill. So I hope to see you soon on Self Care Sunday, and thank you for paying attention to Visible Mending. See you soon.